received several pictures and videos of stores not seeming to follow social distancing guidelines. Governor Hutchinson had something to say about it. I'm Ashley Godwin, and I have the story coming up.
An effort to help the homeless is also an effort to test the homeless. We'll find out why advocates say it's important for the entire community.
The coronavirus pandemic has shut down wineries across the U.S. I'm Chris Martinez with how some are turning to virtual tastings to keep their wine flowing.
A portrait of the coronavirus and a watercolor from a 6-year-old deliver a powerful message about the impact of Arkansas nurses.
The state of Arkansas is slowly reopening, but some guidelines aren't being followed. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Marlisa Goldsmith. Videos like these were sent to us over the last few days showing huge crowds gathering at local stores. THV 11's Ashley Godwin set out to see how shoppers are feeling and what the governor says should be done.
And I got a few reports this weekend that I was a little distressed at, that there was not the social distancing that we all need.
Videos sent to us over the weekend shows packed stores and crowded checkout lines. And then again Monday.
Girl, you need to get in the backpack.
We got more video showing the same thing. So I went to check it out myself. The parking lot at Burlington's and Benton was full front to back, and lines of people coming out of the TJ Maxx.
Have you been shopping today?
Kind of. If sitting in my car counts.
Some people felt fine going into the stores and felt there was reasonable social distancing inside. Others feel it's too soon.
We're doing a story about if people feel safe to shop since stores are opening back up.
Governor Hutchinson had something to say about stores that don't seem to be following the social distancing guidelines. He says it's up to them to make sure that their customers are following the CDC protocols.
Well, I want our industry leaders and our employers and our shop owners to first set the example, and I think that you'll see when they take it seriously that others will take it seriously as well.
In Little Rock, Ashley Godwin, THV 11 News.
We reached out to TJ Maxx after seeing pictures and these videos from inside their Benton store. We received a statement from the company that says in part, quote, "We have implemented occupancy limits, expect all customers to wear a face covering, and are encouraging social distancing with signage, regular in-store announcements, and markers in our queue lines." Meanwhile, let's check the numbers out tonight. Just over 4,000 total cases have been reported in Arkansas. We did see a spike over the weekend, which the governor attributed to new cases in state prisons. The number of new cases continues to stay fairly small day to day, and the number of active cases and hospitalizations are still trending downward.
It's a chilly night across parts of the region, all thanks to rain scattered in nature, but look at this temperature difference. 40s right now in Clinton, Harrison at 43, 48 in Batesville. Meanwhile, it's 57 in Hot Springs and 60 in El Dorado. Looking at the higher resolution radar, we've got a band of some light rain extending from Woodruff County up through Cleburne County and over into Stone County. This is very light activity. Here's the story on our Tuesday. The best chance of rain will be for northern parts of the state and also western parts of the state. But even here in central Arkansas, we will have the chance of some scattered showers. And this is going to be a trend. Looking at the next 5 days, the chance of rain goes up later this week and into this weekend. More on that coming up.
Arkansas restaurants were allowed to reopen for dine-in services starting today, but there are guidelines in place. There must be space for social distancing, which means lowering the number of customers allowed inside at a time. Masks are to be worn by everyone, and hand sanitizer should be made available.
We are definitely doing our part on the other side of the wall to make sure that whenever you come in here that we are safe and responsible to serve you.
Not all restaurants chose to reopen their dining rooms today. Many places and many patrons say they'll stick to curbside service and delivery for a little while longer. Since coronavirus hit Arkansas, you've probably seen one of the governor's daily briefings streamed right here on THV 11. Each day, he and Dr. Nate Smith provide an update on the number of COVID-19 cases in the state. The breakdown has raised questions from several THV 11 viewers. Questions like, is the state testing the same healthcare workers, nursing home patients, prisoners over and over again? What about the people being tested to see if they have recovered? Are they included in the daily numbers? For the answer, we turn to the Arkansas Department of Health. A spokesperson told THV 11 the positive, death, recovered, and active case numbers all reflect unique individuals. The negative test numbers include some duplicate testing, but a majority of the total number of negative tests represent unique individuals. So tonight, we can verify when repeated testing happens, the active cases and positive results are not duplicated. The physical stimulus checks are starting to be mailed across the country, and many posts are warning about fakes. We've had our Verify team looking into these claims and how you can identify the real deal.
Have you sent us posts like these? A state police department warning about fake stimulus checks and how to spot the real ones. They list security features on checks to look for, and you wanted to know if those were real. Short answer, yes, and some of them you can spot at home. Our main source is the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC confirmed they are monitoring a number of scams related to COVID-19, and they're warning that stimulus checks could be next. To help, the Treasury Department put out this chart of 5 physical security measures on checks. 1, the seal should say Bureau of the Fiscal Service or Financial Management Service. 2, the ink on the seal should turn red when moisture is applied. 3, there's microprinted text on the back you can see under magnification. 4, holding the check up to light will reveal a U.S. Treasury watermark on the front and back. And 5, there's a layer of printing only visible under ultraviolet light. Now, some of those, like the watermark, can be tested by anyone, but most are meant for banks to double check. The easiest way for you to make sure your check is legit? The check verification website set up by the Treasury Check Information System. Basically, you enter your check number and amount, and it'll tell you if you have an authentic Treasury check in hand. Remember, check scams rely on you sending money. These IRS checks have no strings attached. So if you get a check that says to deposit it and send money somewhere, that's likely a scam. If you've got other questions like this, send us an email. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
As Arkansas gradually opens up, there's a group of people who never sheltered at home. In fact, they didn't have any shelter at all. We have almost no idea how many homeless people may have contracted the virus. THV 11's Rolly Hoyt shows us the effort to expand testing and get an answer to that question.
Most of the worries about testing supplies have subsided here, but there still might be some out there questioning whether to waste resources on the homeless. But there's an important public health reason for it. The sad reality is they are everywhere, and they can go almost everywhere in the community.
In the homeless communities, there is a risk because people are living in close quarters and they're not necessarily able to social distance.
And that risk prompted advocates to bring the highly sought UAMS mobile testing unit to Hot Springs, where there is an outsized homeless population.
So our folks are in camps all over the city, all over the county, and there are many of us that try to help them as much as possible.
While Garland County has led the state in testing, it hasn't reached these men and women, so Sally Carter and others organized this concerted effort.
So this is the first one where there's really been an organized focus from the community to make it focused and available to the homeless communities.
Dr. Jennifer Hunt and her team have been all over the state. It's part of the effort to increase testing. There's charity here as well as screening, but it's not just testing for testing's sake.
Because if one of our homeless guys tests positive or is a carrier, then it goes through those camps like wildfire.
And wildfires are most dangerous when they reach a city.
Our homeless neighbors are all over the city. You know, they walk, they come in contact.
Visitors could get tents, blankets, a shower, and sanitary supplies. Volunteers have been sidelined by the virus for weeks. They got to join the front lines again, and those fighting this whole time are grateful for the help.
I've met people that I never would have met in the hospital and worked side by side, shoulder to shoulder with them, 6 feet apart, of course.
In Hot Springs, Rolly Hoyt, THV 11 News.
A White House memo out today requires staff to wear masks at all times, except for President Donald Trump, who has refused to wear a mask in public. The president announced today the U.S. has, quote, prevailed on COVID-19 testing, and he abruptly left a media briefing after a tense exchange with reporters.
Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world, and maybe that's a question you should ask China.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go.
The Trump administration will distribute $11 billion in additional funding and supplies to states and territories to ramp up COVID-19 testing. While the country continues to social distance, the 2020 election season is rapidly changing. Presidential candidates are now holding virtual town halls and campaign rallies as voters decide how the pandemic will impact their voting choices. Tonight, we want to hear from you. Go to thv11.com/vote and tell us, will coronavirus affect how you vote in November?
It might seem easy to just open up your laptop and watch your favorite candidate for president in the future, but political experts are warning that connection issues like this could make that difficult.
Right now, it's a lot different because there is no direct voter contact.
The coronavirus pandemic is forcing presidential candidates to go virtual. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden will be streaming online, vying for your vote.
It's going to be a lot of getting used to in terms of reaching out to people and trying to get them engaged without hand-to-hand combat, basically.
10 News political analyst Lars Hafner says President Trump already has experience on TV and social media. Biden will have to make a difficult transition, but his campaign staff will help him through. His first test, Thursday's virtual rally in Tampa.
It's so symbolic to come to Tampa first, because if the Democratic candidate, in this case Joe Biden, wins Florida, game over.
Florida has always been an important state for presidential races, and 2020's election is no different. Hafner says Florida polls show Biden is leading.
You win the I-4 corridor, you'll probably win Florida. And because President Trump only won Florida by about 100,000 votes last time, it's in play.
While it's still unclear what voting will look like in November, Hafner says the candidates will have to win new voters over. Voters will likely go for whoever they think responds best to the coronavirus pandemic.
Maybe the candidate can show the most compassion and come through the mediums that they're using.
Just a reminder, Election Day is 175 days away, set for November 3rd. If you want to weigh in on our live poll, it will stay open throughout the night.